Do you want to learn how you can create kicks super fast in under a minute? In this video, I will show you how you can recombine existing kicks into a new unique kick. And by the end of this video, you will have a tool which allows you to make your own custom kicks very fast and with high quality. When I started making music, I was creating everything by myself. I started creating my own kicks and I was creating my own basses. But let me tell you that you have a big advantage if you just focus on one thing in the beginning, and even later if you are more intermediate. So what I would really recommend you is to use kick samples and recreate your own bass so that you can really make a perfect match between those two. But I will show you still how you can make your kicks more unique, and so that you have more choices and more possibilities, and also have your really own kick which nobody else has. Before we go into the technique, I want to quickly explain you the major parts any kick has. So the first thing is we have this kick here. And as you can see, it has like low frequency, so everything like below 100 I would consider like low end frequencies. It has mid frequency, so we have everything till 8K. Or 5, 6, we could already argument like higher mids, highs. So actually we have basically everything in between this low and the higher range here, and we have still high frequencies. So we have everything here. This one goes to around 17K. But you have kicks also which have higher frequencies as well. So in the high frequencies, you sometimes have a kick head, or if you don't have a kick head, you hear like a click or like a laser zap thing, which comes just from the sine wave, which a kick is generated from. So basically a kick is a sine wave sweeping from highs to low. But let me quickly show you the parts of a kick separated. So here I have the high part. You can see it in the spectrum analyzer here. Here we have the mid part, and the spectrum analyzer shows some lows and highs here as well, and it also shows some mids here as well. But we could say like the main part of this is basically here. So the main mid part is here. You can still see there's something probably from the hi-hat going here into the wave, but the main purpose of this part is the mids. And the last part is the lows. It's also the longest part because that's the thing which is the strongest in the kick. It's not only a part which is very high in amplitude, so usually this part here has the highest amplitude combined with the click here, while the body, as you can see, is a little bit lower. And if we play this one, you can see that most of the frequencies are here in the lows, and maybe the overlap comes also from the cutting. But anyways, you get the concept. We have a high part, we have a middle part, and we have a low part in. As you have seen in the example with the kick audio, that our kick consists of 3 parts. We have a high part, we have a middle, and we have a low part. Now we want to use this knowledge to create our own kicks from kick samples. So what we do is we put all the kicks we want to use, or all the kicks you have in your library, whatever you decide, in a drum rack. So now we are able to trigger all those single kicks with different MIDI notes. And once you have it here in the drum rack, we want to split it. As said, we want to have 3 parts. We want to have a high, a middle, and a low part. So for example, this one here is our high kick. So you can use actually anything. If you don't have EQ3 because you're not in Ableton, you can use any device which basically splits your signal into bands. And once you have this set up here, you just need to set the split frequency, which I come in a second to. So for example, this is like only the frequencies above 6.44 kilohertz here. Everything else is deactivated here. So if we would play this, we would only hear the click we were hearing when I went through the audio sample. Then we have here the middle part of the kick. So the middle part is everything below 6.44 kilohertz and everything above 128 hertz. As you notice, this one is off and this one is off. You can basically duplicate this channel and then switch just a different band on, and you should be good to go here. And then we have a low kick. So same principle, we turned off the other 2 bands and we have only frequencies below 128 hertz. What's really important is that the split frequencies are the same on all of those, because otherwise you will have an overlap in frequency. So let's say I put my low split band at 80 Hertz and then in the middle I put it at 120 Hertz, then I'm missing everything between 80 and 120 Hertz. Or the same if I put it in the lows in 120 Hertz and in the mid kick on 80 Hertz, and I have like an overlap between 80 and 120 Hertz, which will add up or deduct from each other. So it's really important that those split frequencies are all the same. And I will show you a quick trick how you can achieve this. There's a free Max for Live device. It's called Multimapper 16, and you find it here on Mother Garage's Max for Live website thing. I will put a link in the description box below so that you can download it. It's for free. You can just download it. If you like this content, then please hit the like button, because that shows me that this content is valuable for you, and then I can produce more to those topics which will be beneficial for you and your music production in the end. So all you need to do is basically you need to use this map parameter here. And once you have clicked this, then you click on the parameter you want to map. And I mapped all the low frequencies here, frequency low, low, and low, from all those three different devices here to A1, A2, and A3. And then I mapped all the high frequencies here to A4, A5, and A6. So that's basically A1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the next thing is you group this thing here, and then you go here in the group macro controls, and you map A1, A2, A3 all to macro 1. So this is basically our low split, and this is our high split. When we move this, then in each of those here, this frequency low is moving. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, then please subscribe and hit the bell icon. That will help you to not miss any future videos, which will help you to improve on your music production journey. What we can do now is we can create a MIDI here, place a MIDI note in here, a quarter note long. For example, we can loop it here, just copy it across. And I put this here to resampling. So this is basically resampling whatever audio plays here. So if we play it now, we should have the first kick here, the Malmo in E. And if I record this, we get our kick down here, and it looks nice because it comes from one kick. So that's also where you need to take now your attention to. So we will move this, and as you see, it's the high kick. So you will listen, once I move this, we get a different high, but we shouldn't have any change in the lows. We might get some change in the mids because of the overlap of the bands. And I will just keep on recording, and I would advise you to switch this off because you don't want to have it double sounding. Yeah, I think that is a nice high here. You can also see when I move this changes here. I think this one had a nice high part. Now we can move on to the middle part, and we can select something which sounds nice in the middle part. And here you notice this looks pretty weird. So that's something you need to fix then. And fixes are, for example, if you notice this, is that you adjust the volumes. So for example, we could push this in volume if you want to use this. And of course, you can also map things to your macro control so that you can adjust the volume with a macro, which is very useful if you then map the macros to some MIDI controller you have, for example, the Ableton Push or any other MIDI controller where you have some knobs on, and then you can really, while you do this, you have your knob where you can adjust this. But just saying, we could and adjust it, but probably it's more a thing of the band split. Anyways, you're not obliged to select one of those. Yeah, I think this one is not bad. And now we go to the low end. Yeah, I think that's quite nice, this combination. So now we have a kick which didn't exist before because we merged it together from different kicks. And what you can do is you can try if you find a better split point. So we can basically start recording this out. I think 24 was nice. And 90 is also nice here. Basically what you do if you set the split point, you're deciding if you're using more of this kick or more of the other one. So you're basically expanding or shrinking the range of each sample. In this case, it's all the same sample, but imagine we have 3 different samples. It would be like this. If we would, for example, increase or lower the mid frequency, so we have actually a larger high band, then we would have more from the first sample and less from the second one, and so on with the mids and the lows here. So once we have set this up and recorded it out here, we need to adjust a few things. As you can see, it's late here, so maybe it comes from the routing here in the group. So if we really want to use this, we would need to do this. Also, we want to make sure that we have a fade here in the end, and then we would have our nice newly created Frankenstein kick made from 3 different kicks. Another thing you can do here is, if you want to be really clean, then you could see which kicks we have selected. So we have selected here the Zurich G sharp. You could search this kick in here, or you could go to your sample library where you took the kick originally from, and then you place the kick in here. And how you can do this, you can basically here show in browser, search a kick. In that case, I didn't select the right one, but you can drag it in, and then you could also chop it by hand. So you could, for example, go to the 0 crossings here and chop the highs from that kick, and then you go to your next kick and you may chop the mid frequencies here, and you can make it really precise by hand. And also you could adjust the volumes really precise by increasing the gains of each one if it doesn't really fit, as you have seen on the one example where the middle part was quite lower than the low end part. So that's all options which you can then do manually. You can also use this only as like a pre-selection tool to really say, this is the ingredients I want to have, and then you basically recook it manually by chopping the samples. And another thing you can do, if you say, oh, that's not flexible enough for me, that's not me enough, you can use this kick you just created here and then still create your own kick in kick 2. So you can use this kick you just created as a template, as a reference kick, how you want to have your kick sounding in kick 2, and then you can adjust everything in kick 2 really final. So for example, if you want to tune it like a little bit to your bass, if you do that, then you can do that in kick 2 and recreate this thing which you really created very fast out of what you have on your computer. Let me know in the comments if you create your own kicks, if you feel they have the quality of pro kick samples, and if you want to try this technique, or if you already have tried it, or maybe you have even a cool suggestion. So for example, I was thinking about if you could pitch up and down the kicks also. So for example, I put like a frequency shifter. Let me know of all of your experiments, what you have done with this technique, because I'm always eager to also learn new things. So let me really know your experiments with this. And if you want to go even deeper into kick creation and you want to take this as an inspirational source, but you still want to create your own kick from scratch, I will link up here to a video in which you'll find how you can create your own kicks in kick 2. Then you can make it really custom. You can really fit it to your bass. But anyways, as already said, this is enough. But if you're interested, then check this video out.